Which of the terms about reading in the box match with the activities? Okay, so Yadira, did you do this homework? Unfortunately, the other teachers didn't do it because of time situation. But I need to know if you did it, Yadira. Please do not disappoint me. Oh my gosh, Yadira. Everybody disappointed me today. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, I'm just joking about this. No, that's okay. That's okay. We can do it right now. Okay, so here you had some of these options. Okay, I cannot see them very clear because of my computer setting. But if you can do some zoom on it, that will be perfect. Okay, very good. So here we have these five sub skills somehow that are scanning, learning key vocabulary, consolidating language or evaluating opinion in the text, relating the topic to your knowledge of the world, and reading for detail. Okay, so in one of these exercises that are here, maybe you can have like one of or more of these sub skills. Okay, so I'm going to read very, very quickly the first one. Okay, as I told you, it's not very clear for me, but because of the size, but well, I will try it. Work in pairs. Have you got any brothers or sisters? In what ways are you similar, different? Which of your parents or grandparents you take after? So think about the following things. Okay, so here we have this instruction, and I can see some vocabulary, facial expression, looks, opinions and attitudes, and etc. Okay, so according to these instructions, what do you think, Francisco, Yadira, or Judith, that will be the answer for this one? Okay, thank you, Francisco. Thank you. You were doing it meanwhile I was explaining. For you, Francisco, the first one is learning key vocabulary. Okay, is that the only one that can have Judith, Yadira? What do you think? According to Francisco, this is for learning the vocabulary. Is that the only one? Judith, Yadira, are you there? Do you think that this is the only one for this first exercise? Francisco said that is learning key vocabulary. Or you, Francisco, tell me, can it be another one apart from learning key vocabulary? Could be. Okay, Yadira, thank you. Consolidating language, maybe. Uh-huh. Although I'm not sure because we're talking about some aspects. And if it was consolidating the language, maybe I will be asking more for conjunctions or things like that. But that's okay. That's okay. Maybe you give me a try. Very good. Now let's go with the number two. Do you know any twins? If so, are they identical or not? What kind of relationship have they got? Okay, so now we have another question. According to Francisco, this is relating the topic. Okay, relating the topic to your knowledge of the world. Yes, I totally agree with you, Francisco, because we are joining the instruction with our knowledge, in this case about twins, right? About our own experience with twins. Very good. Um, is that okay, Judith, Yadira? Or do you have another use for number two about the twins? What do you mean, Yadira, with no, that you don't have any question or that you don't agree with Francisco that is about consolidating relating the topic? Okay, Judith, don't worry. Let me know if you continue having these problems, okay? Let me know, please. Type on this and maybe I can change my voice. Okay, that's okay, Judith. You can do it. You can do it. Don't worry. Don't worry. Try to take the task apart. Uh-huh. Okay, thank you, Judith. Now, we're going to continue with number three. Read the text quickly. Which twins do each of these statements refer to? Okay, so according to Francisco, this is consolidating the language. Could be Francisco, but look, here we have some keywords. Okay, like scanning, yes, very good. Like quickly, and you're going to find specific information. What is the specific information? The two twins. Which of these twins have these statements? So that's the point. Maybe I will go more for scanning. Yeah, that's it, Francisco. Very good. Excellent. Now, number four, check the words and phrases in the box in your mini dictionary. Then read the text again and tick the statements that are true about Professor Butcher's research. Okay, and here we have the vocabulary box, coincidence, I think it says, right? Uh, to be adopted and so on. So according to you, Francisco, this is a scanning. I don't know because it implies to look through the dictionary and then go back to the text. I don't know. What do you think it will be more? Could be a scanning because you're going to look for specific information. Yeah, could be a scanning. Okay, learning key vocabulary could be also. Okay, don't you think that is like also a reading for detail, maybe? Because we need to look at the words and the words in the dictionary and to convey both. Maybe it will require a little bit more time, right? Okay, and finally, number five. Okay, it says discuss the following question in a small groups. Okay, here we have some questions. Which of the and so on and so on. So, which one do you think that when we have questions, maybe I will use the well, tell me your answer. According to you, Francisco, you said that it was reading for detail. Okay, but in this case, you are not reading anymore, Francisco. You are more like talking, discussing, but according to the reading. So maybe in this case, I don't clearly agree with you. Could be consolidating language, yes, right? Because now you have all this information and you need to transmit it. Maybe that will be the best answer. Mhm. Very good, Francisco. Okay, so I'm gonna check the exercises. As I told you, there could be more of these uses, not only one of these use. Okay, we have already talked about some of them, but for example, scanning was number three, definitely, as we said, Francisco. Because this says the word quickly. This is why it's scanning. It's like a very quick, specific information, the sentences, and that's it. Okay. Learning key vocabulary, it's one and four. Okay. In this case, number one, because we're talking about this personality, about the parents, and so on. And here we're talking about the grammar, the word bank. That is a coincidence to be adopted. So we're talking about vocabulary. Okay, consolidating language, as I was saying, it's more with number five because you already know the information from the text. So you got it, you have the information. What you need to do is to produce such information. So you are consolidating the language. Mhm. Related the topic to your knowledge of the world. That's one, two, and five. Okay. I didn't include five before, but here it is included. Uh-huh. In number one, because we're talking about your parents. In number two, because we're talking about the twins you know. And in number five, maybe because you know the information. Now you have the background, you have the knowledge, so you are just relating it. Mhm. So in this case, maybe we should focus on the questions. Maybe one of these questions is about the previous and the new knowledge. Okay. And finally, reading for detail is three and four. Okay. Even though here it says quickly, maybe it will imply some of the sentences which are more difficult. Okay, so maybe this will take a little bit more time. So the instruction says quickly, which is scanning, but the exercise itself maybe will require more detail. Mhm. And in number four, we have already talked that it's because we have a lot of things here, and we have the word bank, so we need to focus on each word when it matches with the dictionary and so on, as I was explaining you. Okay, so far so good. Judith, Yadira, Francisco, can you hear me? Is that okay for you? Is this crystal clear, or do you want me to explain? Because in a moment we're going to do the TKT sample test about about reading. So Yadira says yes, no problem. Francisco, it's okay now. I don't know about you, Judith. Can you listen to me? All right, very good. Thank you. So, are you ready for the TKT sample test about reading? I hope you are. Okay, so very quickly. For questions from 1 to 7, match the reader's statements with the ways of reading listed from A to D. You will need to use some of the options more than once. Okay, so in this case, we have four options A, B, C, and D, and we have seven statements. Okay, so maybe A will be repeated twice or three times, or maybe C. Okay, that will depend a lot on the context. Now, but you just need to give one answer. Okay, the same A can be repeated, but it's just one per each number. I don't know if this is clear. Okay, so you're going to do this exercise. You're going to have 10 minutes maximum. If you finish earlier, remember to tell me so that I can continue over. Okay, but you will have maximum 10 minutes to do it. Okay, are you ready? Start now. 10 minutes. Ask me. You have a question about the instructions, about the numbers. Let me know. All right, very quick. Very, very quickly, Francisco. You're a smart student. Okay, so only Francisco, and you did, Francisco, 3 minutes, less than 3 minutes. Wow, you have studied, right? Okay, let's just wait for Judith and Yadira. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm just reading you. Ah, here it says Don. How do you say matadito? Okay, you can say it like he's I don't know if that expression exists. They normally say hardworking, a nerd, nerdy, okay? But I don't know if matadito like that exists in reality. Because for us, matadito means like not to be very intelligent, but do all the things, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you, Judith. Yeah, maybe because hardworking is good, right? Matadito is a little bit more offensive. Yes, Francisco knows that. Francisco knows that you are joking. Right, Francisco? Yes, we are joking here. We're just having fun, playing with the language. So that's the point of this kind of courses. Mhm. Like to have fun but learn at the same time. Uh-huh. So let me investigate if Matadito exists because I know like nerdy, nerd, hardworking, but hardworking is good. Okay, so Francisco has written his answers. Okay, thank you very much, Francisco. All right. Please don't cheat, Francisco. Don't copy his answers. Do it by yourself, girls. I know that you are also very intelligent. You still have some time. Okay, Judith says that she's done. What about you, Yadira? Are you done, Yadira? Okay, very good. Don't worry, Yadira. You still have like 5 minutes, so don't worry. Don't be under pressure. Okay, thank you, Judith. Okay, so far I will compare your answers with Francisco's one. Okay, and then we will check what are the real ones. Okay, you have in number one C and Francisco has D. Okay. For Francisco, it's predicting, and for you is deducing meaning from context. Okay. Remember that there is a difference between predicting and deducing meaning from context. In deducing meaning from context is because you already read it, right? Like you have an idea about the situation. And in predicting, it's before reading it. Okay, before just by looking at the title, or a picture, maybe you can get the idea. Okay, so we will see who's right. Okay, in number two, you say that is D who did, and Francisco said that is, sorry, no, who did you say D and Francisco C? Okay, so that's why I was just explaining. Okay, so but don't worry, it's okay. Number three, for he is D, and for you is Z2. So you have the same one. Number four, for both of you is B. Number five, for both of you is C. Number six, B. And number seven, you have another difference. Okay, Francisco is C. Do you see meaning from context? And for you, who did, it's A. Reading for detail. Here it says a keyword. I made sure I understood completely every sentence in it. Okay, so maybe this will imply a lot of time. And what was the reading about time? Okay, so Yadira is done also. Okay, Yadira has also a combination between Judith and Francisco, right? For Yadira, for example, is the same ones as Francisco, except the last one and the one before the last one. Uh-huh. And that's it because she has almost the same as Francisco and Judith. But for her, six and seven are A. Uh-huh. Very good. Okay, very nice. So let's look at the answers. Please correct yourselves and make any questions in case of doubts. Okay? Maybe Francisco. Yeah, now you got it. Okay. So in number one, it's letter D. So congratulations, Francisco and Yadira. This is predicting, yes, because here it says just by looking at the photo. So in this case, this is my keyword. Remember, predicting is before reading it, just by the title, photos, pictures, whatever. Okay, headlines, and so on. Number two, the answer is C. Deducing meaning from context. Why? Because here it says words around a word. So you don't understand basically the whole text, but you get the meaning. So congratulations, the Francisco and Yadira. Number three. Oh my God. The alarm. Okay, I always read the headline of an article to help me decide whether to read it further or not. This is the one more time. It's predicting. So I haven't read the text. I want to, but because of the headline. So congratulations, the three. When I'm studying, I need to make sense of every bit of the reader's argument, so I have to read very carefully. So basically, it's reading for detail. No way, no other. Okay, and neither of you got it. Okay, remember, intensive reading, okay, it's when you read because there is a purpose, right? That means like from a school or things like that. Okay, because for example, when we ask our students to identify words, but it's because we are compulsory to do it. Okay, and reading for detail, it's more like how can I say, not exactly because you're compulsory to do it, but just because you need to read and read and read. Number five, it is C. Thinking about your knowledge of a subject can sometimes help you to understand the words. Okay, one other time that you see meaning from context. So about your knowledge, remember that when we're talking about context, it's your own context and other people's context and the writer's context and everything. And number six is the only B. Okay, because it says here, sometimes I underline all the conjunction in the text I read. It helps me following the writer's argument. Okay, so in this case, it's because you want to look for a specific situation that you are commanded, maybe. Okay, and remember that I explained you about intensive reading, the conjunctions, like all the conjunctions and all these type of phrases like the nouns, adjectives, adverbs, okay, which have more to do with educational things, are related to intensive reading. Everything that has to do with education in reading, it has to do with intensive reading. Uh-huh. And finally, I had to sign a contract last week. So before I read it, I made sure I understand completely. And as I said, rated A, reading for detail. Okay, so how many of them did you get? Count the ones that you got right, at least a half. If you got a half, that means that you are very good, like you're doing so well. Okay, so I think okay, count them by yourselves and see. Just let me know if you got more than four. If you got more than four, that means that you are okay, that you can pass the exam with no much problems. Obviously, it's not the perfect mark, but at least it's something, right? For the beginning, it's something. I'm going to be uploading a reading after this class and this video also about the skills. Very good. Congratulations, Francisco. You got five. Judith and Yadira four. Okay, that's okay. If you got four or more, that is okay. That means that you are on average. Mhm. But anyway, I'm going to be uploading this video and this presentation at the same time so that you can come back to the specific things, scanning and all this, so that this will be clear, because you might have these kind of questions in the real text, in the real test. Okay. So far we have talking about reading. Today we're going to start talking about the other skills. I hope I can finish. I still have more than 1 hour. Okay. So I'm just preparing the presentation. Okay, so let's start with this listening. Okay, um, very good. So pay lots of attention, because listening and reading are very close, because they have also the same how can I say, the same keywords. Okay, like scanning, skimming, but they are called in a different way, but they are related. A lot of related. Okay, so as it says, listening is a receptive skill, just like reading. Listening involves making sense of the meaningful sounds of language. We do this by making use of context, okay, language, and our knowledge of the world. Okay, so we have, it's very basically, it is very similar to the reading part. Spoken language is generally less planned and less well structured than written language. When we speak, we don't usually have time to organize our thoughts. So our job is to decodify the information within a process and understand in the time that is available. Okay, so this is implies listening. It implies to decodify information in with a process, obviously, and in the specific time available. Okay, for example, in TOEFL, right, how many times do you listen to the recordings? Have you ever applied for TOEFL? How many times do you listen to the recordings? Tell me. Twice? Twice. Okay, I see that you haven't applied for the TOEFL. That's okay, it is just one. Mhm. Twice is for the Cat Pet FC that they are from Cambridge. In TOEFL, we just have one recording. Okay. And in that moment, in that specific moment, you need to get information. Okay. That there is no other way. Okay, so just in that specific moment, you need to get the correct answers. All right, and obviously in the other ones, well, you have more time. Or in your exams, for example, if you do listening to your students, okay, you ask them, you will listen twice, or you will listen to a recording of 2 minutes, or 3 minutes. Okay, so what you students need to focus is to understand the message, answer the questions, but in a specific time, because there will not be another chance, just twice or once or whatever. Okay, so this is basically listening. I see that we have a new student. Hello, Leila Soraya, right? How are you? Can you listen to me, Leila? Okay, welcome to the class. Leila, I think I haven't sent you the invitation for Edmodo, have I? Let me know if you are already in Edmodo. Okay, Leila, uh-huh. Yes, but Edmodo, it's a platform, Leila. Uh-huh. It's a platform in which I am uploading the videos of every single class, because I see that you haven't attended all the classes. So in Edmodo, you can watch the videos one more time and recover the classes that you didn't attend. So I need to know if you have if you received my invitation for Edmodo. Okay, Leila. So at the end of this class, please wait a little bit more so that you can give me your email address. Okay, and I can send you the invitation for Edmodo, and I'm going to also share with you the code. Uh-huh. So very good. So let's continue, please, talking about listening. Okay, now, as you know, in reading, we have also some listening sub skills, some strategies. Okay, but before that, you need to know about connected speech. This is a very important aspect. Okay, and I am going to explain you in a moment. Okay, spoken language has different types. For example, conversations, stories, announcements, songs, instructions, etc. Okay, with different interaction patterns. For example, fewer or more participants. As you know, there are some recordings in which just one speaker is the one that does all the recording. Okay, and so on. For example, in this case, in this class, I'm the only speaker in this class. Okay, you are only the attendees, but I am the one that is talking and talking and speaking. Okay, it also involves understanding different speeds of a speech. Okay, what is this? All right, some people, some students speak a little bit faster, or other like less fast. Uh-huh. And also we have some different accents. Okay, so it's not the same, for example, the American English with the British English. Okay, so if we combine all these aspects, such as interactions, such as participants, on a speed of a speech, and different accents, all this is called connected speech. Okay, to connect these four aspects: participants, interactions, that means moments, you speak, I speak, you speak, or I speak only, the speed, and the accents. Okay, is this clear? Because you might have a question about connected speech in the examination, in the real test. Good. So if we are clear with connected speech, now we're going to go to sub skills that have a lot to do with connected speech. First, we're going to start listening for gist. Global understanding, for example, listen to a conversation and you have the question, what are the people mainly talk about? Okay, what are the people mainly talking about? Here I'm missing the ing. Uh-huh. It should be an ing here. What are the people mainly talking about? So in this case, listen for gist means like to listen just for having the the idea, the context of the situation. If they are in a restaurant, if they are talking about food, okay, if they are talking about boyfriends, girlfriends, and so on. Okay, so just basically the context. And that's it, no more. You don't need more to understand this. Okay. Now, listening for specific information. In this case, it is completely the opposite from gist. Okay, get specific points or ideas. For instance, listen to a conversation about two women shopping in a mall. What did the women decide to buy at the end? It might be only one piece of cloth, a gift, a souvenir, etc. So here you have the recording, okay, and they are talking and talking and talking, and there is a point, boom, that when they are saying, "Oh, I'm going to buy this purse. I have decided it. So I'm going to buy it, and that's it." So in that specific point, you got the answer. Okay, so I am not asking you about the mainly a context. Okay, I don't even care what the name of the mall is. I don't care what time it is. I what I need is to know what they decided to buy. That's the only thing. Okay, so no problems with these two. These are the most important ones, the gist and specific information. No problem. Gist and specific information. Okay, thank you, Yadira. Connected speech, you don't have any problems about combining these aspects, accent, speech, no? Okay, so I may continue. There are also other four, okay? Listening for detail is the same as reading. Okay, we had reading for detail and listening for detail. In this case, it is very similar. Make sense of every word to find out what exactly happened and why. Okay, so in this case, I am not looking for specific information, but for more. And for that, I need also, obviously, listening for detail is more for advanced levels. Uh-huh. For example, listen to the news. You know that news in English are quite complicated, especially if they are real news. Uh-huh. And answer open questions like what happened, who was involved, was the problem solved, why or why not. So in this case, it's not only to get the meaning of the recording, but also everything that evolves the meaning. Okay, which is the people, their reasons, what happened, causes, consequences, and to decodify and write down maybe the answers. Okay, and somehow there is a word that is called paraphrasing, in which you uh, basically say what the speaker is saying, but with your own words. So this is include listening for detail, and obviously for that you need to pay attention to every single word in the recording, or the or mostly or most words, right? Okay. Now, deducing meaning from context is similar to the reading one. The relationship between the situation and the message. For example, if you listen to a conversation about people in a restaurant asking for traditional dishes, here is dishes, here it says dishes, but it's dishes, new clothes, you hear the surprising sound. You might infer that they are tourists, okay, just by this context, because you look at the people like, hey, what is this? Oh, I would like to ask for the traditional pozole in Tasco. Okay. Look at the clothes they are wearing, like shorts and dresses. Okay, and wow, the pozole is so delicious. This is the first time. So just by the context, as you are listening, you might get, oh my god, they are tourists. I know that they are tourists because they have never tried the pozole. Mhm. So that's why we use this also, deducing meaning from context. And this is very useful for those students that are basic. Okay. My recommendation for you as teachers is, if you're going to be working with listening, you can start with kind of this, deducing meaning from context. Okay. You just ask your students to listen, and like they tell you what they understand, anything. If they think that they are tourists, if they think that they are students, where they are in a restaurant, in the park, okay, so that they can get involved by the context and they don't worry about the vocabulary. Obviously, later on, you will explain and they will decodify more the context. But at the beginning, it's a good idea to make them involved in the recording by doing this context. Okay. And here we have other one, activating student knowledge of the world. Okay. This refers the phonological, lexical, syntactic, and grammatical knowledge that students have already grasped. For example, listen to vocabulary about animals before a recording about protecting habitats. Okay, so it is also a good idea, like for example, in listening, to record something about animals and they repeat tiger. Okay, animals from the jungle, tiger, elephant, giraffe, gorilla, lizard, or whatever, and so on. Okay, and then animals of the farm, like I don't know, hen, chicken, cow. So in this case, they are listen before they listen, they have like a kind of a background. Okay, or you can ask them by making some questions like, how much do you know about animals? Tell me some names of some animals that you know in English. What are animals from the zoo? From the what are animals for pets? And so on. Mhm. And so on. And there you can have an idea of this. And finally, working with authentic text, okay, which are real recordings. For example, many coursebooks had extras of real reports, news, and even TV programs. Okay, so in this case is when we have in the text real material, okay, that they are from the BBC of London and so on. Okay, so basically these are the ones for the sub skills. So we have six of them, I think. Listening for gist, listening for specific information, listening for detail, deducing meaning from context, and activating the students' knowledge of the world. And finally, authentic text. That's it. Okay, six important words that you must remember because you might have these kind of questions about this in the real test. Okay, now the same as reading, we have two ways of listening, which are the same as reading. We have extensive listening and intensive listening. In the extensive listening involves listening with pleasure. Interest and willingness play an important role. For example, a song. Okay, there are many of our students that really like songs and they listen just for pleasure, but they are practicing their listening. Obviously, they don't care about present continuous, they don't care about adjectives, they just like because of the sounds. So, this is extensive listening. And intensive listening is the opposite. People are more aware of how language is used. As we saw in reading, here we need to have the conjunctions, the all these aspects of the language such as nouns, pronouns. Okay, so in this case the extensive listening is that listening for pleasure, and intensive it's listening for getting information as a knowledge. So far so good. Questions or problems about these ways of listening, about the sub skills of listening? Okay, Francisco says no. Yadira also, I think. Okay, Yadira says no. All right, very good. Okay, so are you ready for the TKT sample test? I know that I'm going too quickly because these topics are really, really easy. And what you just need to know, I hope you're taking notes. Taking notes is also an important part of this kind of class because as we do the test, the sample test, you can go back to your notes and see if you are doing right and so on. Okay, so please write your notes, obviously with basic words with keywords so that you don't write that much. So We're going to do the TKT test sample. All right. Here we have, for questions from 1 to 7, match the teacher's comments with the aspects of listening listed from A to H. There is one extra option that you don't need to use. Oh my gosh. Okay. So here we have 7 sentences, and here we have the options, which are only 6. No, sorry, they are 8. Sorry, they are 8. So one of these is not going to be in the answers. Okay. Here we have listening for specific information, listening extensively, listening for detail, listening for gist, activating students' knowledge of the work, working with authentic text, deducing meaning from context, and dealing with connected speech. Okay, so before we started the sample test, because we didn't have much time to practice before, tell me, do you have any question about these aspects before you start reading to the statements? Or is everything crystal clear? No question? No problems? Okay, thank you, Judith. Yes, Judith says that she doesn't have any problem. Maybe while writing the answers, they might appear, probably. But, well, if it were easy, then we wouldn't check this, right? So it's not that easy. I know that there are a lot of concepts that you must know. But little by little, just study them. Uh-huh. Just pay attention to them. Unfortunately, in listening, it's more difficult to find material. Uh-huh. Very good. So I'm gonna give you 10 minutes to do this exercise. Okay, you're the same ones. You're going to put the A, B, C, or whatever. You can do it here on the chat, or you can write the answers on your notebook. Okay, so you have 10 minutes to do this exercise. If you have a question during the exercise, let me know, please. Start now. 10 minutes. Okay, teachers, how are you doing? Difficult, right? This time you didn't finish as fast as in the reading part, right? Just remember what we were saying about the main points of these aspects. Mhm. Okay, thank you, Francisco. You did partially 7 minutes. Very good. Excellent, excellent. You didn't have time this to study, right? To reflect on. That is why maybe it took a little bit more time. Okay, Judith is also done. All right, so let's wait for Yadira. And I think Layla is having some problems with her connection. Okay, so but anyway, I hope she can attend the class later on. Sometimes it's very curious, right? Like we as teachers, we never think about these sub skills. We tend somehow to be very, how do I say, um, we tend to do the things the same way every single class, right? Like, guys, please listen to this recording and you will answer the questions, okay? But maybe one day we can do this listening for the context. Or maybe one day we can ask our students to deduce the meaning, uh-huh, by just looking at the situation. Okay, or sometimes we can also use authentic text, not only the ones of the book, but also other resources such as BBC of London. Uh-huh. Um, Sometimes, for example, we can also do listening for detail, right? To make our students to focus more on this, on the definitions and so on, right? Well, we never know. We never know. Okay, I'm just waiting for Yadira's answer. Thank you, Yadira. You're done. Thank you. Okay, here I have Yadira's answers. They look so nice. Number one for her is age. Mhm. Francisco, I also have your answers. Oh my gosh, Francisco, you have very different ones. At least the first ones. Okay. I think Judith is also writing her answers. So maybe I'm waiting for Judith. Yeah, that's it. Okay. The first one, Francis, could you say that is A, listening for specific information, and for, okay, just in time, huh? Just in time. Okay, and Yadira and Judith is age. Okay, remember, when we talk about connected speech, as I was explaining you, is to deal with pronunciation, with speed, is to deal with like accents, and so on. So in this case, it says that recognize the pronunciation of individual words and sounds when they hear people speak in the street. Okay, so maybe I will agree with Yadira and Judith in this time because we're talking about disconnected speech. Okay, maybe, but I'm not sure, Francisco. Maybe you are right and I am wrong. Okay, in the number two, Francisco, you wrote C and Yadira and Judith wrote A. Okay, recognize only specific information. I will go more for Yadira's and Judith answers this time one more time. And then you got all of the others the same, except for Judith and Francisco in the last one. Oh, no, no, also in number five. In number five for Judith is D, that says listening for gist. Uh-huh. Like number five. It's nice learners can just listen to a story and enjoy it without doing a task on it. I don't think so. Remember that I was explaining you about this extensive and intensive. Okay, extensive is for the mere pleasure to do it. So maybe in this case, who did I don't totally agree with you. And in the last one, who did you also had a different one? You wrote B, listening extensively. Well, now you know what I'm thinking about. Mhm. Yep. Or maybe it was a finger mistake who did. Maybe it was a finger mistake because B and D are similar. Yes? Maybe. Okay. Very good, who did. Yes, we are human beings. We can make mistakes. Okay. So here are the answers. So check them, please. Number one is H. As I was telling you, they're connected to speech. Number two is A, Francisco. As I explained to you, that is a specific information. In this case, what is the specific information? Well, the numbers and names. That's it. Okay. And number three, it's E. So all of you got it right. Number four is G. Excellent. Number five is B. Now you know why. Authentic text, no problems with this. And number seven is Z, like Francisco and Yadira's answers. In this case, it's about listening for gist, sorry. Uh-huh. They have to decide the general meaning. Remember, this is for general thing. Mhm. Number six, you have a question in number six, who did? Number six is F, because here it says about real TV programs, real conversations. The one that you didn't have to write, it was letter G. No, letter A, B, C. I think it's C, right? No, no, no. C, yes. No? Oh, yes, C. You didn't have to look at C, right? C is the one, yes, C is the one that you didn't use because listening for detail, remember, is like to listen every single word by word. So have said like, my students, it's difficult for them to understand every single word. That's why I asked copy the recording exactly in the notebook, for example. So maybe that's why this is not in the text. Okay. So with this, that's all. Okay. So I'm going to be uploading this video and also the the presentation so that you can have a look at it later on. And if you, in case of doubts, well, you can ask me later on or you can investigate more. Got it? Now, let's go with the unit 7, writing. And I think this is going to be the last one of today, okay? Because that would be too much if I give you more and more and more. So far, we have checked reading, listening, and writing. And maybe on Wednesday, we're going to be looking at speaking, okay? Now, writing. What is writing? Well, in comparison to listening and reading, this is the first productive skill, okay? It involves communicating a message by making signs on a page. We need to be able to form letters and words. Join these together to make sentences of a series of sentences that link together and to communicate our message. Okay, so basically it's using the signs. What is a sign? A sign is not only about letters, it has also to do with punctuation, all these like question marks and so on. Those are signs. Very good. Now, there are different text types. This is very important because according to the text type, it's going to be the activity that, well, it has to do with TKT test. In comparison to reading and listening, for writing, it's not very important to know the sub skills. Okay, listen to me. In this, it's not important to know about the sub skills. We will look at them like very general, but as this is a productive, it is more important the process. Okay, when we write, as me as teacher, I like the process, or I give importance to the process, and then to the writing, to the final composition. Okay, I don't care that much what kind of writing you do. I just need the process and um, the last product. Okay, so this will depend on the text types. For example, it can be a shopping list, very simple, a postcard, a birthday card, a diary, right? So those are very simple examples of writing text, but they can also be more difficult ones, such as essays and articles. Okay, essays and articles might inquire more different grammar structures, more complex, and so on. Okay, so each of these texts have different characteristics. For example, it's not the same to write a note with just single words and omitted letters than writing a letter in which you might include a complex grammar and a formal register. Some writing skills are related to accuracy. Okay, and we're going to look at this concept in a closer way. But before that, can you explain me what is accuracy? Have you ever heard about this term, accuracy? What is accuracy? What do you know? What do you remember about accuracy in English? When you say be accurate, some of my teachers used to tell me, be accurate. What is accurate? What is accuracy? Very good, Francisco. Certainly, or a specific think of word. Okay, so basically, what you're trying to tell me is that to be concrete, right? Very good, Yadira. Exact. To be concrete, to know what you are saying, to know what you are writing. Okay, and it has to do with, I don't know, one characteristic, or in this case, what one of the text types. Now, let's continue. I know that you have a little knowledge about accuracy, which is good. Okay. Now, well, in accuracy, you need to focus in different aspects. Okay. Spelling correctly. Okay. This is the first aspect. Forming letters correctly. Okay. It's not only writing for writing, they need to be correct, grammatically correct, as well as the letters. Hmm? Join letters together. Okay, it's not just right. I am Mauricio. I study in Mexico City. I live in Tasco. Just like that. No, it's also to join them, like I'm Mauricio and I study in this. I also live, so make those all these linkers, right? Okay, writing legibly. This is very important. Some of our students don't even have a good handwriting, right? It seems that they are writing with their feet sometimes, right? Okay, punctuation, using correct layouts, choosing the right vocabulary, using grammar correctly, using paragraphs. Okay, so accuracy is basically to write in the correct way. That's it. Spelling, vocabulary, grammar, punctuation, everything. So that is accuracy. Okay, very good. In accuracy, it is also very important to use appropriate functions. What are these appropriate functions? We have three. We have style, register, and structuring. Okay, in a style, what do I mean with the style? You have different kind of styles when writing. You can have a description, a persuasive style, or a narrative style. Okay, so I hope you understand this. What is descriptive? What is the main point? Tell me just one word for descriptive. Please type on the chat one word that has to be with descriptive, or give me an example of a descriptive style, please. No, in this case, no, Yadira. Descriptive. Well, yes, okay, have a description of an information. Yes, yeah, that's right, but that will be another one. Okay, Francisco wrote, I was in the morning at 9 a.m. when my brother comes and so on. Okay, that will be a good example because he's describing. Although here, Francisco, to give a little bit more a more complete description, I will write, I was in the morning at 9 a.m. It was very sunny. It was a sunny day when my tall brother came and you see, so now you're giving me more descriptions. Remember, from descriptive, the main point are characters and adjectives. That's it. Uh-huh. So now, persuasive. What is a kind of a persuasive style? Can you tell me an example of a persuasive style? What is persuasive? No? Don't you have any idea about persuasive? Okay, Judith has told me that she got some problems with her connection, unfortunately. She sent a message on WhatsApp. Well, I will miss her. Okay, the most tasty chicken you have ever tasted. Very good. So for persuasive, Francisco, I think you are getting the idea that is to convince, and that's it. Okay, it's to convince. So in this case, you are trying to convince me to either to buy your chicken or to go to eat in this restaurant or whatever, because you're telling me that is the most tasted one that I have ever tried, right? Very good. And narrative, well, we have some examples with short stories, with fairy tales and so on. Okay, now another appropriate function has to do with register. Here we have in this case formal and informal. So tell me, Francisco and Yadira, give me one example of a formal text that you know that is kind of formal or tends to be more formal. And give me an example of an informal one. What kind of text can be formal and what kind of text can be informal? Excellent, Yadira. So for you, an essay, as you said, it's formal, right? Because we need to have a good vocabulary. Very good. An essay to get a degree. Nice. This is formal. Very good, Yadira. An email to a friend like, hello, buddy, how are you? And that's it. That is totally informal. Although there are also mails that are formal, but not exactly to friends, right? We can write formal emails for our bosses, for example. A WhatsApp message, although my messages on WhatsApp are kind of formal, but they can tend to be also informal, especially for friends. So that will depend on the situation, the context, right? Now, for structuring, organize, and join ideas, okay? So in this case, it has to do with all the grammar and stuff, okay? So remember, accuracy is writing in the correct way. which involves spelling, word formation, paragraphs, punctuation, and so on. But it also depends, it is also linked with functions. In this case, style, register, and structuring. Style, which means the kind of text you are going to be writing. Register, if it's going to be formal or informal or to a specific group or groups. And structuring, which has to do with the ideas, okay? How you join the ideas. For example, in a storytell, you start with an introduction, then the body, then the climax, and finally the conclusion or the ending. So basically, how you will put all these ideas in a way of this format. Okay. So now, for example, here we have narrating, telling a story, and this has to do with the style. Okay, so this is a sub skill. We can write for narrations, for narrative things. Now, we can also write for complaint, requesting, thanking, or summarizing, such as in which we will express main points or ideas in a few clear words. Or we can write for concluding. Okay, so means that end in the appropriate way. So all of these are sub skills. Now, in comparison to reading and listening, the sub skills are not that important. Okay, because in the real TKT test, you will look at this, but just like maybe one question or two. Okay, what is more important is for you to know about accuracy and functions. Those are the most important aspects, not exactly the writing sub skills. Okay, so now I might continue. Now, here we have writing characteristics and process. We have already talked previously about cohesion. Okay, in writing, it is very important the cohesion. Okay, in this case is the use of logical way of organizing the information of a text and the use of paragraphs and topic sentence, a sentence that gives the main point or subject of a paragraph. For this, you might refer to the noun with pronouns, add linkers, or better called conjunctions, and include topic sentences, which include the main idea of a paragraph. So we have already talked about that. So what is cohesion? Basically, is to link your ideas. Link to your ideas and form paragraphs as they are put correctly placed in a text. They will be put correctly in the order of a text. Okay, and for having cohesion, this is the first thing that you need to have. You need to have the topic sentences. This is very important. What is a topic sentence? Well, I don't know if you can look at this reading, sorry, this text. We have in number letter A, topic sentence. I'm not sure I could say what my favorite lesson was. So in this case, this is my topic sentence because it's the sentence that is going to give me the main idea of the text. In another paragraph, for example, in paragraph number 3, that is French the school, and I am much more interested in language now that I was end. So this is my topic sentence. Why? Because it's giving me the idea that he got more interested about languages. So the whole text has to do with languages. Okay. Another of these points is this one, but I do enjoy meeting the different nationalities that I teach and writing them interacting. And watching them interacting. So in this case, I am changing the topic. In this, I talk about the languages, my interest with languages. And in the second one, I am talking that, of course, I like languages, but I prefer watching them interacting. So I like communication. Okay, so you see how with these topic sentences, you can change the ideas of the text. You can go from here to here and then there and so on. Okay. Yes, is that clear? Now, another thing that you need to know about this is that you need to have nouns with pronouns. Okay, what is this? You know that repetition in writing is not good because writing has to be very organized. So if you are all the time saying, okay, my girlfriend is Amira. She is beautiful. She writes perfectly. She studies French. Amira is a very intelligent student. Amira, okay, so it will be too hard. It will be lots. It will have lots of repetition, and this is not good. So that's why we use this kind of pronouns. For example, in B, the pronoun them, which referring to the academic subjects. Uh-huh. Letter C. No, sorry. Here we have in letter E another program, another pronoun. That is the aquí está that. Here we go. That pronoun referring back to the previous sentence. So I'm talking about the last idea that 10 years ago the map of Europe was shaped by the Second World War. Okay. So in this case, so I can use pronoun, I can use determiners, which, that, whom, etc. All right. And G, we have another example. It. What is this it? Well, it refers to teaching English. So if we look at the context, at the text, sorry, we're gonna get about the teaching English. So not repeating the same word, we are using it. Mhm. And finally, we need to have conjunctions, which are basically the linkers. You know that conjunctions will help me to join and two sentences. We have different kind of conjunctions. We have some conjunctions that add, we have some conjunctions that contrast, that gives reasons, and so on. So for example, in letter C, we have the conjunction of a reason. Okay, let me identify it. Okay, because. Okay, so I am joining these two sentences. In D, I have another conjunction that is but in this case, I am contrasting. Okay, I have another conjunction in, no, that's it. Yes, that's it. Okay, so I will repeat and I will summarize this. For cohesion is the use of logical way of organizing the information of a text. And for this, you need to have topic sentences, which the main idea of a paragraph. You need to have pronouns, okay, so that we can avoid repetition, and conjunctions of contracts, which means to join the sentences. And that's it. Okay. So far, so good. My attendees, Francisco and Yadira, you have a question or a problems about this? Yes, that is okay, Yadira? Cool. I hope you're taking your notes, huh? It's also a good idea to have your notes. You can write like this: cohesion, topic sentences, conjunctions, and pronouns. That's it. Mhm. You can do some brainstorm or mapping, maybe. Nice. Nice, Francisco. No problems. All right. Very good. So we might continue before we start with activities. In this case, before the sample test, I have some activities for writing, which is good. Okay, now, what is important apart from coherence? Okay, that is, cohesion. Apart from cohesion, what is also important in writing, and you will have some questions about this, is about the stages of writing. As I was telling you, in the TKT, I don't care much about the writing sub skills. I care more about the process of writing. Okay, so what you need to do first in writing? Well, first you need to work out what you want to say, getting or working ideas. Okay, so this is mainly before writing. Okay, so imagine that me, as the teacher, I will ask you to write an essay about the main test. Okay, so you will start writing your ideas, TKT test. Okay, teaching knowledge. First, what it means. Second idea. The second idea could be language skills, then listening, reading, writing, language aspects, grammar. phonology, and so on. And you can start writing your ideas on a text, on a piece of paper. Got it? Now, this is the first stage, working ideas. Number two, working out the order in which you want to say it. For example, by brainstorming without really thinking about grammar. Okay, that means now I have my ideas and then I will put them and I will try to put them in order. Okay, I remember my teacher told me first about the aspects of the language. So I will put first grammar, then lexis, then phonology, and then function. Boom. So I am putting them in order. Then he explained me about the skills. Okay, he started with the input skills, with the receptive skills, listening, reading, and then the output skills, speaking, writing. You see? And that's a way of organizing your ideas, putting numbers or putting in stages. Mhm. Now, number three, this is very important, drafting. Okay, drafting the first version or form of a piece of writing. They may will be changed. So you start writing. You start writing. You don't care about grammar. You don't care about punctuation. You don't care about lexis. You just start writing. Okay, function of the language, the language skills, boom, 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 and you start writing. This is your first draft. Okay, in this case, you don't have to care about punctuation, about grammar, about anything. You just start writing. Mhm. As it says, it might be changed. Okay, maybe there is one word that you don't like because it's not that formal, so you skip it and you write another one. Mhm. And this is part of the editing part. Okay, correcting and improving the context of the text. Now that you have your draft, now you start checking at the punctuation, you start checking at the grammar, the lexis, and everything, and you make the necessary corrections. Mhm. Now, proofreading. This is another one that is good. Checking for mistakes in accuracy and correcting. Remember that we talk about accuracy, okay, that it implies the style, right? So, for example, if I ask you to write an essay, you need to say or you need to see if it has the correct format. If you have the correct style, that means that is a narrative or it can be a persuasive essay. Okay, so you need to see if you are convincing me that your project is okay. What do I mean with also with the register? If it is formal enough. Mhm. So that's proofreading. In this case, you are just correcting, checking. That's it. You don't write anymore. You just correct what you think it is forcibly to correct, but according to accuracy. Mhm. And finally, redrafting, which is writing a second final version of your piece of writing. Okay, now you have your writing, you think that it's perfectly correct, but if you want to transform it into another one in order to see if you made more mistakes, this is just to make sure that what your corrections and everything are okay. This is just to make sure. And then you deliver it because maybe sometimes it has some scratches there, or I don't know, some problems with this with your pencil maybe, or you erase it and it left something there, maybe a clue or something, so you decided to change it. And that's it. Okay, so I want to ask you, Yadira and Francisco, how many times you as teachers or as students of the life, do you do these steps in your writing? That you really do this, like your ideas, order them, start writing, edit, re-edit, and writing another piece of work. How many times do you really follow these stages? Or what stages do you normally apply? Because sometimes you don't apply all the stages, but you say, okay, teacher, I just apply the drafting, editing, and redrafting, and that's okay for me. I don't need any more. In Spanish language, what do you mean twice? Like only the first two, or I don't understand, Francisco. Okay, very good. In Spanish, but what about English? Francisco, do you do this in the English class? Sorry, well, yes, in your English learning. What about you, Yadira? Don't feel nervous to tell me about what you usually do if you follow all these steps. Don't worry, I am judging you. I don't even do that because of time. Sometimes I just go through the ideas, the drafting, editing, and redrafting. That's it. I don't care about anymore because just because of time. However, this is what we should do as students, as students of life. Okay, very good, Francisco. You said that you only draft and maybe edit and redraft. Which means like to write it in a second chance. Mhm. Yadira, just redraft? No, Yadira, sorry. You said that you only draft and redraft. Sometimes you edit. Yeah, me too. Sometimes I edit, sometimes I don't. I just go quickly, draft, and boom, boom. Okay, that's okay. Boom. And I just transform it into another text. Now, how many times do you ask? No, right? Me too. Sometimes I forget about this, about the register, about the style, about the grammar. Sometimes I forget about this accuracy. Me too. Okay, now, how many times do you ask your students? Are you your teachers from kindergarten, right? Or have you ever thought in higher levels? Because sometimes, writing has another process with children. They tend to be like a little bit slower, like not that hard. You will not ask for an essay to a child. So tell me, how many times? I need to know if you teach to children, or what are the steps, the stages that you teach your students to follow. What do you say first to them? Get ideas, or just go ahead and start writing? You see vocabulary before. Okay, so don't be shy. Tell me, what stages do you ask your students to follow? Okay, so Francisco, they write a letter to a friend, and what do they do first? They organize their ideas, or they go start ahead with drafting and they just deliver you, or you're feeding to check it. Okay, very good. So for you, it's just draft, edit, and redraft. Okay, so maybe Francisco, this time you will have another idea for working with writing, right? Maybe you first your ideas. Write on a piece of paper all the ideas that you have for this project or for this writing stuff. Okay, so they start now. Organize them. Which one would you do first, or which one would you like to talk first about this topic? And now start writing. Don't worry about punctuation, about grammar, just write what you know. After that, you said to them, okay, read your text and say if you need to edit something. Maybe one word, maybe add a comma or a period. Uh-huh. Then please profit your writing. That means check if it is the correct accuracy, that the correct format, if it is formal, informal, if you are really persuading them, or if you are really and you are working as narrators and things like that. And finally, as soon as you have all this, rewrite what you did in another piece of paper and deliver it to me. Okay, maybe as I told you, this will take much time, to be honest. You will, maybe one class won't be enough to do the complete stages of writing, right? This won't be enough. But maybe if you have a chance to work with this, maybe next class, think about it. Think about writing, think about doing these activities, the same as in reading and the same as in listening. Try to change the methods you are using. Maybe the listening for detail is not helping you, so maybe this time you will ask for a gist, for example, just to get the context. Mhm. So this is also for applying in your real classes. All right. So it's time. It's we are about to leave. I just want to show you the homework for tomorrow. Okay. It's not very clear here, maybe, but I'm going to be sending you this presentation in Edmodo. Okay, so that you can do some zoom here and try to decodify what it says. All right. And sorry that the text was like kind of bad, but well, we will look at it. Okay, look at this writing activity. Match the terms about writing skills in the box to the different steps. Some terms may match more than one step. Okay, so here we have a one, two, three activities, and in number three we have B and C. Okay, so what I need you to do is to read that instruction and tell me what activity or what is the writing sub skill that you might be using. Expanding ideas, providing a model, drafting, thinking about the reading, practicing spelling, developing ideas, structuring ideas, or understanding the task. Okay, which is mainly what we have already talked. So I'm gonna send you this picture in Edmodo and maybe in WhatsApp too, because some teachers don't have the Edmodo platform yet, or they are not included. Okay, so maybe only for this time I will be sharing this on WhatsApp. Okay, so I need to know, Yadira and Francisco, do you have a question about your homework? Okay, remember that you might have one of these in number one and 3B, for example, or in 2 and 3C. Okay, very good. So that will be all for today. Thank you very much for attending the class. We saw three skills so far: reading, listening, and writing. On Wednesday, we're going to be looking at speaking, and that will be all. Yes, Yadira. Yes, for sure, I can repeat it. Here you have some characteristics of writing: drafting, practicing spelling, developing ideas, and so on. Uh-huh. Yes, there's one of these, for example, instruction A1 might have more than just this one. Maybe it's like in the listening one. Do you remember? That maybe this is, sorry, like in the reading one. For example, in number one, read the task carefully. So here you have a task. Write a magazine article, so on and so on. Okay, so maybe you will say, for this activity, first I need to restructuring and planning my ideas. And I will also need some drafting. You see? So maybe in this instruction, you can have one, two, three, or even four of these activities. Okay, so just think about them, analyze them, and if you need to reread the presentation, just do it. Reread it, please. Okay, so is that clear now? Okay, Yadira, very good. So that's all by my part. Thank you very much for attending today's class. I was very happy to read you and to share this class with you, and see you with all the energy on Wednesday. Is that right? No, thank you. Thank you for attending. See you on Wednesday. Okay. Don't forget to use that model. All right. I will be uploading also readings. Okay, so goodbye. Have a nice evening.